Continuing on with the Bumblebee movie creations, today I'll be looking at Shatter. Now, similar to her partner Dropkick, I decided to base her off of her car form, so no jet mode and no wings in robot mode. Once again, this decision was made so that the car mode could stay in a similar level of quality to my others, and I think it paid off, because personally, this is actually probably one of my best car modes. There are definitely issues. For example, this small gap here, which is sadly required for how she transforms, and the windshield does kind of split in the center there. Now, that actually kind of is weirdly accurate, as she does have, I believe, a cage on her windshield, and it does kind of go down the middle. So although it's not three-dimensional as it should be, you could kind of consider that to be representative of that. She is also the only car former of mine that has little rear view mirrors, I believe, which does kind of stand out, but I added them anyway. Now, the rear, there are some issues with the rear. As you can see, there's these bits popping out the back, which is not ideal, but I don't mind. And I didn't actually have pictures of her car from behind, so I ended up just throwing something together for the tail lights. I don't think it's accurate. I forget. I'm pretty sure I've since seen how the car looks from behind, and it's actually I think she has square tail lights, more like the Saline Mustang that I believe Barricade becomes. Similar to that kind of style of tail lights, but I went with this anyway. I don't think it looks bad. I just don't think it's accurate either, but I don't really care that much. It's the back of the car. What matters more is the general silhouette, which I think I got pretty close. Now, one of the bigger issues that I do kind of find annoying is that the way that she transforms, it's actually very difficult to get these the light bar up here to stay aligned, just because these are on slightly weird joints in here. So you can sometimes get just perfectly lined up, but it's very difficult, and it will take a lot of fiddling. So as long as you're okay with these side ones being slightly higher, and it does get hidden a lot in different angles, it's not too big of a deal, but that is definitely an issue with this. Now, in terms of how she compares with her teammate, I can just bring them in right now, and you can see that they do make a rather nice little team. And they definitely are two of the more memorable villains from the Transformers live-action films, by no small part because of the fact that they actually have color and memorable designs. It's a shocker. If you want to have people care about your characters, actually make them easy to distinguish from the other hunks of metal on the screen, you know? But enough passive aggression towards the movies. As you can see, they scaled fairly nicely with the Stormtrooper. As I explained in Dropkick's video, it's kind of hard to define minifigure scale just because minifigures are themselves so bizarrely proportioned, but I think it looks fine, so I'm okay with it. And now on to transformation. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, once it focuses, take this roof and basically fold it back. Now, once you've done that, more or less the whole underside can actually fold down. Now, this is her abdomen, waist, and legs. Now, we can go ahead and transform the legs. So, the roof will fold back over for now, and we're going to want to come here, and actually, sorry about that, you want to keep this over here so that then you have to basically squeeze this past it, and then boom. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and bring this actually down, and the little light here will actually fold in, and that will form a heel, and you can, let's break this in half, and fold the toe in. And there you have a lower leg. Then you do the same thing on this side. Once again, bring it over, fold it in, and push this all together. There we go. Boom. And you have a heel. And this folds in. And then we just want to take both of these lower legs and rotate them 180. And using the same trick as I used on Dropkick and a few other creations, you swing the thigh over, hopefully not breaking it off the T-joint. And basically you expand the hips so that the knees have space between them and aren't right next to each other. And there you go, you have legs. So onto the upper torso, we're going to want to bring out the arms. Now, this is a little bit tricky because you want to grab from underneath. And I just broke the leg off, but you want to grab from underneath because the wheel is actually a separate piece. So you have to grab from where the wheel is actually jointed so it comes with it and doesn't break off. Now then, once you've done that, you can actually kind of bring the arms out of the way and fold the wheel back on its own. Like that. And if I'm careful, go ahead and do it again. And it broke off. Basically just to get you in view, that's what that looks like. And basically you had to move these two joints in tandem at first, but then separately later. And this joint here, which the wheel is on, can somewhat line up with this ball joint, which the arm is on. So once you've done that, you can get the arms kind of out of the way. And now we have to deal with the chest. And as you can see, it's going to be formed from the front here. So this little pod of two headlights actually comes out to the side, and so does the other one. And then you want to rotate it. And sorry about this, it's not really on camera, but just rotate it. Then it's on a robot hand, and you want to bring it out just enough so that when you can actually fold it kind of over this and bring it out and bring it up. Then you want to come to this other two pod of headlights, and as you can see, this is what the lower body is attached to, so you can just bring it out of the way for now and then rotate it all and bring it all the way back and then bring that little bit over. And that's that. Now then, this whole top bit is actually on a hinge, so it hinges back like that, and that will more or less, if I can get this all out of the way, more or less raise up the little engine intake on its own, and then you can go ahead and position that all together like that, and it fits together oh so nicely. Now, you can take this lower body and it actually folds up into place, and what you want to do is line it up so that that cheese slope there actually fits underneath into the hollow bits of these plates. Now it doesn't lock together, it more so just serves as a guideline to help you know that you have everything lined up and fitting together properly. Now that torso is formed, as you can see, we can move on to the arm. Now the arm, I'll start with this simple tile that just slides down. That kind of causes it to look like it's curved slightly. And then we can come to here and hinge it down, come to the little windshield piece and actually rotate it. And then take the door, rotate it over, flip the rear view mirror back, bring out the hand, rotate it, slide it in, and then there you have an arm. Now the same thing on the other side. It's not focusing. There we go. Once again, bring the tile down, bring it down, rotate it, rotate the windshield, fold that down, fold back the rear view mirror, bring out the hand, rotate it, slide it over. And there you have that. And I can stand her up now, if I can get everything lined up. She's going to stand up, and she stands up. And now we have to do her head and the other light bar bits. So as you can see, the light bar is attached by those two droid arms. And the first thing you're going to want to do is actually slide the two halves of the light bar apart. Now then, once you've done that, just bring them down slightly so we can fiddle with the head, and you want to take the antenna, flip it up, and it's slightly out of the way, and this is actually a very tight connection. You just want to rotate it so that it's straight up on the head, like that. There we go. Now, you can take all of this and hinge it over, and then this will fit into place and rotate like that. And then once you have the head like that, you can bring these wheels back and onto the shoulders, and then there you go. She is transformed. So now on to Shatter's robot mode. And I really like this mode, especially when you compare it to the car mode, because there's just so much visible change between the two. There really is a lot that happens in the transformation, with how the front of the car just completely rearranges and how the feet kind of just form out of so little of the car. And surprisingly, there's not really any like backpack. There is some kibble on the heels, but even then, the roof that's on here actually serves as a really nice heel and less as kibble. So in general, I just really enjoy how this came out. Now, one inaccuracy is that the shoulders are kind of positioned weirdly. Accurately, the wheel well is supposed to be on the front of the shoulder. Here it's the side. Now you can sort of fix that, kinda, if you do something like this, but that just looks really awkward. So personally, I just try and angle it slightly so that it looks like a decent approximation. And I think it does, and I enjoy it. And she does have the little guns built into her wrists. I couldn't remember what her weapons looked like in the movie, but the Studio Series toy had these, so I just gave them to her. She does actually have, weirdly enough, wheels in her legs that she can kind of use as heelys, which I don't think is accurate to the movie. I don't believe you can actually see her wheels on her anywhere other than the front wheels that end up on her shoulders. But that's just where they ended up, and I thought it's kind of neat, because if you move her back and forth, you can kind of feel them rolling. Now, as far as articulation goes, she has up and down movement at the head, a rotation, then ball joints at the shoulders, but they can be a bit awkward because the wheels are separate. But, you can get the forward movement. Outward movement is very limited, though you can kind of cheat it by using the transformation joints to sort of give her outward movement. Then at the shoulders, not the shoulders, the elbows, there is this joint which is kind of perpetually bent, so it doesn't really count. Then at the lower elbow, there is a ball joint, which gives you about a 90 and obviously a swivel. And then the wrist has a bend or a pivot and a swivel. Then, unlike Dropkick, she does have a free swivel at the waist. Then, similar to Dropkick, she has the T-joint legs, and as you can see, she can get pretty high kick. And then, bring this up, get the arms out of the way, and you can get the full Van Damme split, because T-joints are good at that. Then back down to the knees. They are also on ball joints, and they can get about a 90, and they can also be used as a swivel. And then nothing at the feet. The feet do not pivot or tilt. But I don't know if she really needs it, and that's about it for her articulation. And then just as an example of posability for both Shatter and actually Dropkick, they can do the kneeling pose. This isn't actually something they did in these forms. They kneeled when they were in their triple changing forms, but I still figured it would be neat to point it out. Since I already put the cannons on her wrists, I didn't actually give Shatter any accessories, so let's get straight into size comparisons. Now, here you have her next to a minifigure, and you can see, pretty tall, very imposing. Then, with a car bot in the same scale, so you can see how big she is compared to a car. You can see she does grow a little bit. And then, last but not least, bringing Dropkick in one last time, there you have it. The duo in robot mode, and I think they look quite nice together. I like how Shatter is taller but slightly leaner, whereas Dropkick is shorter but has a little bit more bulk to his torso. I think it kind of evens out nicely to where they look very evenly matched, and they look like quite the nice little duo. So yeah, that's about it for these guys. And now it's time to move on to the Autobots.